G'day guys, welcome to Scotch Down Under. I'm Ken.
I'm the Cubble.
And I'm Scott.
And today we're going to go to the Isle of Arran. Do you know where the Isle of Arran is?
No fucking clue.
I'm going to take a stab. I'm going to say it's in the United Kingdom somewhere.
Well, I can narrow it down. Is it in Scotland?
Yes and yes. Isle of Arran. So this Arran is ticking all of the boxes that we like to hear about.
It's whiskey.
It's whiskey, non-chill filtered, non-coloured, and 50% ABV.
And most importantly, it's whiskey.
It is whiskey.
Scotch.
Yes,
Scotch whiskey.
Single malt whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, fancy. Arran hasn't been around that long, but they do have a huge range that they've got. So they've got the normal age statement, so they've got their 10, the 14, which we'll touch on in a minute, the 18, the 21, the 25. Then they've got a barrel reserve, which was formerly named as the Loch Runza Reserve, and I probably completely butchered that naming.
Yep.
Then they've got the Robert Burns expression, then they've got the quarter cask, the Bothy, which is a cool name. Then I've got sherry cask, the Bodega. Then I've got some peated expressions. Marchery more peat range, and the whole range including cask strength ones and normal to limited ones. Then I've got these limited wood finishes ones, which they finish in masala, cognac, a couple others, including the port one.
They do a Sauterne barrel as well, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Ooh, that's the same finish as the Glenmorangie Nectar D'Or.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they do single cask release and special limited releases like every other distillery under the sun. You were mentioning something about the history of most distilleries?
Yes. Well, unlike most of them, they didn't shut down for the war.
They certainly didn't.
They didn't
And
exist.
there's no fire. There was no fire.
They haven't had a fire.
They haven't had a fire.
No.
Yeah.
Yet.
We should go to Scotland. Have you had a fire in your history? Nope. Right.
So yeah, these guys were initially formed in 93, so 1993, so they haven't been around for that long at all. And the construction started in December of 94. They'd only just started, but then a couple of golden eagles decided to say, hold on, we're going to nest here. So they had to close down the whole construction.
So they have had to close.
Hang on, but closure to wildlife.
Yeah.
Because of wildlife, that's quite unique. I'm assuming the golden eagles are actually a
Protected species.
Yeah.
endangered species, protected and everything. So
Yep.
basically, when they decided to nest nearby, that's why they had to shut down
Yeah, because
production,
you
so they
can't
didn't scare them off.
disturb the nest.
They've been returning every couple of years to nest again, and even doing a little fly past every now and then when there's some important event like the official opening of the distillery. These eagles have been doing flybys, which is pretty damn cool.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and there's also a white stag that's actually part of the distillery mythos as well. And there's even a club that they've started. But anyway, so after they let the eagles do their thing and make some offspring, then they went back to building it, and they started in 95 officially production. And then at the end of 95, they officially opened the distillery. So the Isle of Arran, or Arran, is actually right next to, you know where Campbelltown is in Scotland, down the bottom there?
Yeah.
Yep, so it's pretty much, you got the mainland, and then you got Campbelltown, and it's right in the middle. And they are right up the top of the Isle of Arran. That's where they got the best water sources. And back in the day, around the 1800s, this little island produced some really good whiskey, illegally of course, back then. And there was actually, the water of Arran become quite popular in the mainland of Scotland until pretty much they had to stop doing it because...
There's something about the words illegal whiskey that that make me want to drink it even more.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was a lot of it. Because Scotland wanted more quantity than they wanted quality, but because the quality that was coming out of Arran was actually pretty good. Someone kind of, a little bit of importance, actually decided to open it back in 97. Any ideas?
Mr. Bean.
Yeah, he might have been there in the background, but it was Her Majesty the Queen.
Not as good as Mr. Bean.
It rhymes.
So, yep, She opened the visitor centre, and also Prince Harry and William were there, and they got gifted a couple casks each, and they're still maturing to this day. And that was supposedly when those Eagles actually did a bombing pass when they did the opening. So in '97, when the Queen opened the visitor centre, these guys have been kicking ass, and they have been getting the most amount of people throughout all of Scotland through their visitor centre. Over 100,000 people per year have been visiting this distillery.
What?
And
That's pretty impressive.
yeah, in 2015 and 2014, they won the best visitor experience as well. A little year after that, their first matured cask was opened, and it was actually opened by a pretty famous Scotsman.
Mr. Bean.
He's
He's
English.
not Scottish.
All right.
Mr. McGregor.
I was going to say Willie from The Simpsons.
You McGregor's still pretty good.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor
McGregor.
opened it, and he was gifted a cask as well, and it's still maturing along with the Prince's casks. And then in 2006, they brought out the 10-year, and then 2010, they brought out the 14-year. Now, the 14-year was really, really popular. But last year, they had to, or 2019 now, that we're into 2021, they had to stop producing it because there's not enough stocks, which is a real shame because that was a kick-ass whiskey.
When supply meets demand.
Yes, but hopefully this year they're going to be bringing it out again, so I'm hanging out for that. It's meant to be really good.
Alright.
And then 2016 they brought out an 18-year-old, which I really want to try. And then 2018, the Larg distillery was actually started construction.
What's the importance there?
Well, the Larg distillery is actually down the bottom of the island.
Are they
And
owned by the same people?
yes, because these guys are actually owned by themselves. So it's the Arran distillers.
Oh, so they escaped Diageo.
Yeah.
Independence.
They are fully independent.
Freedom!
I was just about to say, it's got a brave little heart.
Oh, that's shocking. Oh, God. Yeah, so 2019 they started production of the Larg distillery. And it was the first time over 160 years since the original Larg distillery closed in about 1840.
Ah, so they've revamped and reopened an old ancient
Distillery. Yep. The Larg distillery is actually going to be taking over the peat production from the Arran distillery.
Okay.
So they're going to be producing a whole pile of different peat ranges. They're going to be experimenting with their peat, where they're getting it from. They're also going to be experimenting with the barley. They're also going to be experimenting with their yeast strains as well. And they're going to be producing 50 ppm peat.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that before or after?
Probably before, like
Yeah.
most of the
Fair enough.
way it's done. And unlike most young distilleries, they're not going to be making any gin. They've got a whole pile of apples that they've planted, so they're going to be making some apple cider and apple brandy.
Oh, the apple brandy, yes. I don't. Not a fan.
If it's a good apple cider, I don't mind it.
It kills me the next day.
Daylight today where it's hot and stinky
A
and
nice
muggy.
cold apple cider would
Nice
be brilliant.
cold cider?
Yeah, yep.
Not bad.
Since they've made the new distillery, and they can't call themselves Arran because there's two distilleries, so now the original Arran distillery is now going to be called the Lochranza distillery.
Okay.
So the stuff that's coming out of Lag will look different to the stuff that's coming out of Lacranza.
Yes. But
But they'll
all
both
the
still
packaging,
be Arran Distilling Limited.
yes, they're both part of Distilling Limited. Now, the stuff that's coming out of now the Lacranza, they've changed their packaging, of course.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So they have like a full monopoly on the island. They're the only two.
They're the only two distilleries, yep.
Nice.
Like we actually said earlier, there's the Eagles.
Where? Oh, that explains why I've always seen the eagles on it.
Yeah.
It's a classy packaging.
It is
I like
very
it.
classy.
Stylish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could do with more embossing.
No, it's got enough embossing on there.
That's not embossment, that's the seal.
Yeah, but feel that Arran is fully embossed.
Oh, yeah. That's
That's
it.
enough. That's all you need. And then the top has got that nice copper look, and that's all fully embossed in there, stamped in there.
It's your fairly standard bottle shape, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
A little bit of moulding.
with the moulding of the eagles.
Similar sort of colour scheme to the tube.
So I can smell that without even putting it up to my nose, and it smells damn.
Oh, yeah, I've been been picking something up ever since you bought it.
I've been picking my nose too.
Just couldn't help yourself, could you?
No, I can't. I smell.
Whiskey?
No, my throat just stopped working.
Just a little bit of ethanol.
I smell sun-dried raisins. You do get a little bit of the port up front.
Yeah, I like that port nose.
It's going to be a big port, I reckon.
Yeah.
Quite sweet.
Well, I'm hoping it is. It's 50% ABV too.
I'm slightly getting green out like those toffee green apples. Like the lollies?
Just the toffee. Not so much the apple, but the
No,
toffee
I'm definitely
for sure.
getting green apple. Or some form of apple.
Stewed apple.
Maybe a rock melon.
Well, Power's suggesting I'm getting
No.
green apple now.
No, it's definitely green apple. Yeah. Like,
I'm thinking
artificial
more, like
green
you said
apple.
initially, that toffee apple, so more like a stewed apple.
well,
maybe.
I was going towards, you know, those toffee apple lollies that are super artificial apple and they're like red with a stripe of green down the middle. That's what to me it identically smells like.
But see, when someone says toffee apple to me, I
Yeah,
automatically think
We've
of
got
apple
the
on a
toffee apple stick. Yeah, that's what I'm
been
thinking
dunked
of.
in toffee.
Yeah, that's
We
what I'm
didn't grow
thinking.
up in the 1800s.
Hey, toffee apples are good.
Yeah, no. I've never actually had one because my parents don't love me.
But yeah, there's a little bit of ethanol,
There is
Yep.
a little bit.
but
of
the
a kick to it.
underlying flavours are following through.
And I'm getting some of the characteristics of a typical Campbelltown coming through.
I mean, there's that fruit richness. I'm still not getting apple out of it, really.
I don't know.
They're more like I said, stewed apples.
That's all I can smell is apple.
I'm getting the toffee part, but I
the
did get
toffee-
hints of that green apple.
Sun-dried grapes, as you like to call
Sun-dried
them.
grapes,
Yep.
yeah,
Sun-dried
dark
grapes.
fruits.
But yeah, there's definitely elements of that pork barrel coming
Yeah,
through
I was going to
straight
say it's
away.
very port typical. And I think there's something here that they're actually saying they're using Portuguese fortified wine.
Portified.
Fortified.
Well, it's pork barrel.
Portuguese portified wine.
Yep, that's the one. On that note,
That was surprisingly easy to say.
The surprising thing is we've had very little to drink already.
One thing that I hate about days like today is we always drink these neat with no ice or anything.
I kind of want to put ice in it tonight.
This is so hot. Like it's been baking all day.
And look, for me, initial there was that
ABV.
ABV,
Yeah.
a little pepperiness, but but it's softened off and it's becoming really like smooth,
I had the same thing.
really soft sweet.
Yeah, the finish is delicious. The first mouthful was like, oh, this is hot, this is ABV, but it went really quickly, and like you said, it buttered up, smooths up, and then that port characteristic comes through. Yeah, as soon as I had that little mouthful, I thought, I want to put water on it, like now.
As soon as it hit my tongue, I was like, that's really hot.
Whoa.
Joys of 40-degree days.
And this is 50% as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But going into the nose, this smells like fresh sea breeze on the nose.
It's not a good day for whiskey.
Any day's a good day for whiskey.
Bad day for milk.
Shit.
It's not as
Oh, that,
it's not as port as I thought it was going to be.
yeah, the ABV's kind of kicking it a bit.
Yeah. The water's going to be hot too. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah, it's a little warm with that ABV when you swallow it, and it's like, whoa, that's nice and hot.
Oh no, I
and
mean the actual
spicy.
temperature of the.
Oh, the liquid itself? Yeah, that doesn't worry me.
It's putting me off.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
I do. I on occasion, I will actually keep
A glass
No,
or
no.
a bottle?
A less expensive bottle.
Yeah.
Or more the point, a less fancy bottle I will actually put
The only
in the fridge on occasion.
Which makes sense on a hot day like this.
the only whiskey that I've ever kept in a cold environment was a freezer, and it's because I got
White
given
Walker?
a shit bottle of that White Walker.
Oh,
And
which
I
has to be in the freezer anyway.
Yeah, well, it doesn't taste.
At room temperature,
It's terrible.
It really is shit.
And
But when it's cold,
still pretty bad when it's cold, but
oh, it's not great, but it's not.
keeping it ice cold, having a
It's
couple of my
actually not
good
bad.
whiskies,
Yep.
and then after my buzz is on and I want to keep drinking, just being like, yep, there we go. Can't taste it at that point.
Just fill that glass with ice and go nuts.
Yeah. Apples and oranges to pigs at that point.
We've all done it.
Oh,
I'll admit, I got given a bottle of bloody Johnny Walker Red as a gag gift about 7 months ago. Still sitting in the exact same spot I put it when I got home that night.
yeah. I don't think I have a whiskey that... Actually, no, I did have a whiskey. It was that pure Scott, and I palmed that off to my husband. As a, here, you like drinking whiskeys, you're just getting into it. Here, take this one. Have it, it's yours.
Kind of mean, but I get it. I get it. The first thing for me straight away is that little bit of water. It's knocked the ABV down. It's making it more sippable.
Yeah. I haven't had a sip yet.
Getting more of those, raisins and dark fruit.
That really smoothed it off. Yeah, that port's really coming through.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, with a little dash of water, that's
Yep.
pretty damn good.
I think you might be right. This, when it's not 40 degrees in here like an oven,
Yeah.
normal temperature when about 20,
It'd be good.
it'd actually be pretty damn good on this.
I'm like,
well,
in
he-
all seriousness, I'm starting to think that with that little addition of water and stuff,
It's putting it back to what it should be.
if they had a bottle of this at 46, could have actually been.
Well, we're going to have to do a couple of tests. We should revisit this on a day that's not 40 degrees. And
Yeah,
see.
we'll come back in 3 months
Yeah.
when it's actually a bit cooler, yeah.
Yeah. Is it 3 months away?
Yes.
It's only just started.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, because...
That is really nice. Yeah.
It really picked it up. It's either, lowering that ABV or it's chilled it a bit.
Water's the same temperature pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the water didn't come out of the fridge.
No.
It's off the shelf.
It's been sitting on the same shelf as the whiskey.
Smaller quantity. It's not in an insulated tube.
No.
No.
Well, I'm getting more and more sweetness as I've added more water.
Yeah,
to
this
it.
is really quite
It's
nice.
softening and it's opening and it kind of makes me really, really intrigued to try some of their other cask finishes.
Yeah. Though I feel like they have done a good job. We've just boiled it.
Yeah. Well, we are in Australia. There's not much we can do.
Actually,
when
that's a good point. I wonder how a line burners would go on a 40-degree day, seeing as it's made in this climate. If it'd have that
It's
much
still
of it.
high ABV whiskey, dude.
Yeah, it's still hot alcohol.
Well, not like the Darkest Winter. I mean, like just their standard release.
Yeah.
They're 43.
It's still high ABV alcohol, and it's going to be lukewarm.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, if it fares better, flavour profile wise, if it loses less subtleties than a Scottish one, which is created in much colder temperatures.
Well, the colder it is, the less you get out of it.
Yeah, well, that's why they had to start aging it
See,
for longer and longer periods so that you get...
In warmer weather, I tend to
Are you talking
drink-
about maturation or the
No,
drinking?
I mean, because it's been matured and
at a higher temperature.
and distilled at
Theoretically.
a higher temperature than say a Scottish one because of just Australian climate in general. Would
Oh,
it
yeah.
fare better drinking that on a 40-degree day than say this? That's what my
That's an experiment. We just might have to.
yeah. Does climate
I'm
take it?
I'm down to try this theory.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because that's what I was trying to go with. It is, does climate actually make an effect in
The drinkability.
Of a whiskey.
of where it's distilled?
Well,
'Cause
see, what
that
I
could
was going to
be-
say is like on a hot, like if I was sitting at home right now
Mm.
and decided I was going to have a whiskey, for starters, yeah, I'd probably put some ice in it.
Mm.
Or maybe like, pour it into the glass and put it in the freezer for 15, 20 minutes
Yeah.
or something. But I also wouldn't be pouring myself in something big and ballsy. I'd be pouring something light and fresh, like
Yeah.
Toki
Yeah. Well, because
Yeah.
that was the other question I was going to...
or an Irish.
'Cause
Just something lighter
that could
and
be an
fresher, not
answer as to why
big and hefty.
The
And,
Japanese is so good. All the Japanese whiskies have been so good.
Well, I found the Tale of Cake, because that's like a dessert wine finish. That was really light and fresh. That's really good on a hot,
Oh, yeah.
on a hot day.
I-
Yeah, that's it. It depends on the whiskey. Like this is a
I had
heavy kind of whiskey.
I had several of those on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Getting back to this one, how much would you pay for it? I'm not going to drink that. I've only got a tiny little bit left.
I don't know. I'd say
It's 50%, non-filtered, non-coloured.
about 150.
Yeah,
Drinks pretty well. I'd be happy to pay that. Well, it's not.
I think they're actually.
They're
Are they a little cheaper?
I
or...
think so. Well,
I'm still thinking it's sort of probably that maybe 130, 140.
yeah.
Or I could be thinking of a different expression, but that's what I remember seeing an Arran on the shelf.
And then, as usual, is this where you turn around and say it's $90?
Well, it's 115-ish.
Ah, that's not too bad. That's
Yep.
actually pretty good.
That's not bad.
Actually, for 50%.
That's
115,
good
yeah.
value.
Yeah.
That's good value.
Yeah. They're actually pretty good with their value. And the 10-year-old is not that expensive either. I'm definitely grabbing a bottle of the 10. The 14 I really want, but obviously it's been...
Yeah.
So I have to wait till that comes back.
And look, it's been opening up. It's been becoming a bit more lively. So I'm thinking, yeah, it could actually even be one of those really good exploratory ones, and just like try a single ice cube or just some shavings of ice to just drop the temperature a little, or maybe even just pour a dram and stick it in the fridge for half an hour and see what you think.
Because that's what I was going to propose, is where you do a quick cut, chuck these in the fridge for 5 minutes and come back to it before, like when we had our first sip. And I was like, no, let's not do that.
I'm not a fan of like a whiskey like this. I wouldn't want to chill it down because you're going to lose
Well,
all
5
those.
minutes, you're not going to chill it, you're just going to drop its temperature a tiny bit.
Yeah, but chilling it, you're going to lose all those characteristics and
Well, the heat
flavours
does the
and-
same thing as well.
It changes.
No, it opens it up.
Yeah. He's right there, because I mean, like, for argument's sake, with a white wine, we actually tend to drink them in Australia too cold. They're coming out of the fridge 5-6 degrees. When
Yes.
Well, even reds.
if you actually look at what some of the winemakers say, you should be actually pouring them at 12 to 15 degrees. With the reds, we're actually drinking them at some of us at bloody, if it's coming out of a cupboard and it's not temperature controlled, they're coming out at 25, 30 degrees. And it's actually not a bad thing to chuck a bottle of red in the fridge for 30, 15, 20 minutes.
Especially if you're drinking
Just
European
to
wine.
bring it down to about 16, 18 degrees.
Yeah, because you want to drink it at the room temperature that it was created in.
Yeah.
And in Europe, room temperature is about 12 to 14 degrees.
Yeah. Well, in Scotland,
Not the
right
standard
now,
30 degrees for
in
us.
Scotland right now, they'd be sitting there like this, warming the whiskey up because it'd be too freaking cold. Whereas we're trying to wish we could do that.
Let's go there now.
Yeah, let's do it. So, now that you know the price and you've had a couple
Yep.
of sips, what would you give it out of 10?
Yeah, I reckon it's a solid 9. It didn't overly blow me away, but it was
No.
still decent. Maybe an 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5. I'm liking the fact that it's opening up. I'm liking the fact that it's good value. But I got to admit that first tiny little sip was just pretty much just ABV and pepper.
Yeah, it was
And
punchy.
then that-
Yeah.
And then that second one, to get more of the mouthfeel and stuff, there was just a lot of ABV, but the flavour came through on the end of it. But it's opening up, it's softening up. I mean, if it hadn't really altered much or anything like that, I'd probably give it an 8, but as it stands, I'll go 8.5.
Yeah, because like when I smelt it, or when I nosed it, I thought that I was going into like a big, bold port, just bombshell, which I was excited for. And then that first sip, kind of, I was disappointed and it led me astray.
Yep.
It did open up as I added more, but I had to add water to it twice for it to get that nice, sweet, porty flavour.
Yep.
Just to knock off the ABV. But, yeah, high ABV port I don't think is a good combination.
I kind of like it. We've only taken, I've taken one little sip out of it before. So we pretty much was a
So it's
straight neck
still
pour.
pretty much neck.
It was a neck pour. It is a stinking hot day.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that ABV is really going to come in your face because it's going to oxidize really quickly. So, yeah, I wouldn't judge it on that. I want to get this down a bit and see what it does when it's
Yeah,
not so
I'd
stinking
like
hot.
to do a revisit
Yep.
on this one.
Because adding the water really makes it really tasty and delicious.
The next cool day that we have.
Yeah, in 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 9. A tentative 9. So not bad, not good. Just all round. Being NIS, it is 50%, non-filtered, non-coloured. Great distillery story, and all the expressions are really good. So I'm happy with a 9 for now. But I definitely want to come back and revisit it.
Yes.
Yes.
To be revisited.
Yeah, to be revisited.
All right. Well, I'm over sitting under these lights. From all of us.
Have a good one.
So the whole royal family was at a whiskey tasting. Hopefully they didn't drive under a bridge afterwards.
Oh no.
It wasn't a bridge, it was a tunnel.
You're gonna have to give me a minute on that.